Hello and welcome to the Prosperity Portal podcast. I'm your host, Jill Alana, and I'm here to support you in everything you need to prosper in health, wealth, and relationship. I'm obsessed with everything manifestation, soul path, intuition, somatic embodiment healing, and I'm looking forward to supporting you in liberating to a life of love and luxury. True empowerment, true sovereignty, and aligned soul manifestation. I'm the founder of Jill Alana International, Jai Activations, and Jai Breathwork. And without further ado, let's go to the show and get you resourced in everything pro your spirit. If you or a loved one has been struggling with addiction, which is literally any behavior that is causing relief in the short term but harm long term, it could look like food or sugar or substance, drugs, alcohol, plant medicine, sex, porn, even work or exercise, which could be considered healthier. But if it is still running your life, then it is an addiction. Shopping could also be an addiction. So willpower alone will not do the trick. Addiction is caused by trauma. Compulsion isn't a character flaw. You just have unresolved trauma, small t trauma or big T trauma, that is in your body and is driving you towards those behaviors. Once the trauma is alchemized, which is exactly what we're doing in my addiction healing seminar and healing activation, then that compulsive desire for that behavior will literally just dissolve out of your life. And then you can have a glass of wine if you desire, but you won't need it. You won't feel a compulsion towards it. Or you can enjoy intimacy time with a partner where it is pure and sacred and not tainted by porn or any other distortive addictions. So if you are supporting a loved one who's going through addiction, I also highly recommend this because we're going to go over what actually supports somebody to heal addiction and what is pushing them further into addiction. All the information is in the show notes below, and without further ado, let's go to the episode. Okay, beautiful. So we have my friend Adam here today. He's taken some of my courses and done my breath work, and we're talking about life beyond addiction. So would you like to introduce yourself first, Adam?
Sure. I'll start it the way I started every meeting. My name's Adam. I'm a recovering alcoholic, recovering asshole, making my way through life. I'm almost at the recovered asshole part too, I think. Life is getting better every day for me out here in the world. I started my journey with Alcoholics Anonymous, which I give a lot of credit to, but for me, I like to test theories and it wasn't quite enough. I remember being asked if I was ready to pray. It took me a little while to get there. I learned really quick that when you start asking for things from God, he gives you tests. And and the struggles continued, but it was also a medium for me to understand that I can deal with adversity without a crutch, if that
Yes,
makes sense.
100%.
So I crossed 2 years sober on February 14th. Valentine's Day is my new birthday.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I'm sitting here talking to you all from a temple in Bali right now. The mother of the joint is about to walk by with incense and throw up a bunch of protection for all four corners of this place. So I can't wait to see her. She's a beautiful soul. And hopefully some hot tea arrives here around 7. So far
Love
so
it.
good. The sun's coming up here. I'm about 16 hours ahead of you all. So I'm talking to you from the future, which is always a neat experience.
Yeah, love it. Okay. So I just want to backtrack. Adam and I met years ago, working in the service industry. So he knew me in a past life, this life, but
Oh, I sure did.
a past version. You've seen the transformation. And I've
Absolutely, I have. I watched it on Instagram. I watched you go through those tough times in airports and all of that,
Oh
right?
boy, I want to talk about some of that, but we'll leave that for the end. So,
Sure.
or a little bit later on, because I want to focus firstly on addiction and your journey
Mhm.
with healing that, and where you kind of were. So basically, Adam and I, he was my manager years and years ago. He was a sommelier back when in those days when I talk about Jill was deeply in scarcity and I was a different person. Okay. I was very bitter, not happy, not free. I felt like a slave to the matrix. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Adam was my manager. And he's like he was one of the top sommeliers in Vancouver, maybe in North America. And you
That's
reached
very
out,
kind.
pardon?
So that's very kind.
Yeah. Well,
There's a lot of good sommeliers in Vancouver, but I had a good time.
well, you were very good. I saw you
Thank
sell
you.
really nice bottles. Um, that we proceeded to drink the rest of after shift sometime.
Well, that was the idea, was it not? Try the good stuff for free. That was always the goal. I happened to
Now
get
you
paid
guys,
for it, which was nice, but
pardon me?
I said I happened to get paid for it as well, but drinking the
Yeah,
cool stuff
right.
for free was really the goal the whole time, from the
Okay,
barefoot on
so
down.
we'll get back to that. I'm sorry, my dog is going ham. I just took him out. Um, and everything's trying to stop us from having this conversation. The tech wasn't working on Instagram
Mhm.
Live. But, anyways, here we are on Facebook Live and on the podcast. So that was like a flash into the past. Then you reached out to me a few years ago before you got sober. After watching
Mhm.
my journey, my transformation, at that point, I'd studied energy healing, Reiki, Christ consciousness healing. I'd studied shamanism, shamanic breath work, and I was launching decoding manifestation for the first time. You actually almost joined. I remember this.
Mhm.
And you were kind of like on a health bender, and you're like, okay, like I feel healthier, but like there's all of this anxiety going on because the root cause healing is important. And this is the somatic work and the energy work, in my opinion. And then you didn't end up joining. And then you reached out when you were sober about under a year ago. I guess it was this summer that you reached
Mhm.
out. And by this point, I guess you had been watching some of my shares of, like intuition, channeling, all of these things, God. And you've reached out to me, and we'll talk about that in a second. I specifically remember the conversation. I was getting my nails done, and I invited you into Unveiling Deception Keys to Discernment, which is a free masterclass. It's on my website. Anybody wants to listen to it. And then you ended up
I
taking,
have access to it too, if anybody's looking for it.
yeah, perfect. And then you ended up taking DATDA, my energy protection course, and you did the breath work as well. And I mean, I've just seen you completely, you had already transformed a lot, but I've seen you completely transform. Like it's like, and then you picked up and went to Bali after we had coffee. You're like living your soul led life. Love it. So I want to go back to where kind of you were after healing from, because you obviously went to AA, and I've worked with many people to heal addiction. We didn't work together on that specifically, but we did deeper work. And if anybody is like, I'm struggling with any sort of addiction, drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, exercise,
Work.
work, sugar, like anything, then I have a seminar on the 28th. The replay will be available as well if you hear this after the 28th. It's $38. It's on healing addiction and compulsive behavior, from the root. And also, we're going to do a healing activation, which I mean, these are beyond powerful in that. If you want to purchase it after the 28th, it'll be $88, which is honestly still such a steal of a deal for what we're doing in there. So let's go back to when you contacted me, kind of what was going on. You were sober. How was like your nervous system? You were getting all these signals. Literally, God was speaking to you.
Mhm.
Go back to there.
So I would say that it all started when I met a pastor online. His name is I won't divulge his real name. I just call him doesn't really matter. I started talking to him about all these signals I was getting. I started seeing signs on the road. I was driving a lot. This happened right up and right after I got sober. So 3 months down the road there, I was taking a ferry and I was on my way to the island to deliver a car. And I was carrying my 12 by 12. And if you followed AA, the 12 by 12 is the steps and traditions. It explains the basis and how they came to these conclusions in 1938. And if you really dig into the whole thing, you find that all 12-step programs are based on this. All self-help books are based on this as well. It's a very, very old process. So this lady recognized that book, and on an empty ferry in the middle of the ocean, she came and sat down in the seat next to me, which, being the recovering asshole that I was like, who does that? Right. And she sat down and she looked at me, and there's a code word for letting you know she's in the program. And she let me know that. And I was like, okay. And this blonde, blue eyed native woman proceeded to look into my soul. And it kind of blew me away. She introduced me to my spirit animal. She introduced me to a whole bunch of things about myself that I guess I already knew but was denying. Um, and it kind of all started there. I'd never seen a wolf in my life until that day, and then I started seeing them everywhere. There was rabbits that I would see at work that were letting me into their space for the first time, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Rabbits are usually pretty edgy, and they don't really let people come close, especially wild hair. So after that, on June 12th, it was the anniversary of the passing of my friend. We're talking 18 years ago. I carried a lot of shame and guilt because of that. It happened on my watch, as you know, I've told you about this story.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked into a diner, and I've been talking to an astrologist, an online astrologist, nothing too crazy, nothing, just trying to hold myself accountable, see if I'm watching the signs myself, right?
Yeah.
The pastor friend told me God was pursuing me, and that kind of scared me. I'm like, well, why am I special, right? That's the question you start asking yourself. And it turns out we're all special, and he's pursuing all of us. The question is,
Yeah.
do you accept it or not?
Exactly. And you
And
were ready. Some part of
I
your
was
soul
ready.
was ready because
Hmm. Of
sorry to interject. Like, I just want to jump in for a second.
course.
Um, I do believe God always is pursuing us. And sometimes we have to go through specific things before we're actually ready and open. And I mean, man, when I look back, I'm like, the synchronicities and the signs, it was like he was always pursuing me. And like, my background is I did not grow up religious. um I I'm not even like, I wouldn't even consider myself super religious right now. I am in devotion to God because I think there's certain constructs in certain religions that actually keep you from having direct relationship from God, Jesus, and Mother Earth. However, looking back, it's like so crazy of like the signs and the messages. And it was like, whoa, I went through certain hardships, initiations. I mean, even you were saying earlier about um trusting and having faith in like the communication. And it's like sometimes we go through the hardest things, I believe, in order to come into deeper relationship with God, in order to rely on God for vision, holy provision, or to help us through something. And like a lot of my work, you've experienced some of my energy work, but like a lot of that is like it's literally calling God and Jesus and certain energies, like holy source energy, into healing certain aspects of ourselves. And yeah, I so strongly believe that we're all being called. It's just at what level, and are we open? Are we listening, or are we just giving our power away? And I do apologize about the background noise. I'm dealing with a puppy, and for some reason he's going crazy right now. Okay, I'm gonna
No,
pass it over to you.
it's me. And so no, it's and exactly, Jill. It took me a while to get there, and when I was a young man, I was always into alternative religions. I was reading Buddhism at 14. I was reading Nietzsche at 14. I was into all of those things. And as I grew older and started testing psychedelics first, alcohol at a very young age, we experimented with, and that's when you realize that you cut yourself off from your own spirituality, and it's really hard to get back. It's easy to fall into the constructs of feeding yourself poison because it makes you feel well, makes you feel good. And alcohol gives you all of those things. I worked behind a bar. It brought me women, it brought me money, it brought me fame, it brought me more than anything else, notoriety. I became the job. I became what I was feeding people. And it took me a long time to reconcile that. The shame, the guilt of being there when my friend passed away because I couldn't stop him from getting off the couch and driving home.
Yeah.
And that stayed with me for 17, 18 years. Right. And we get to the present day here. And the reason I reached out to you is because my astrologist had told me someone was trying to connect me with me from beyond. And one day I walked into this diner that I'd never walked into before in my life. Right. And a picture jumped off the wall at me out of nowhere. Two older gentlemen caught it. I grabbed it and I put it down, didn't think anything of it. Went, sat down, opened my phone, ordered breakfast, and I was like, hold on a minute. I get up, go back, I look at this picture, and I'm like, where is this picture from? This picture hung in a restaurant that we used to have breakfast in just up the street from where he left that day. And well, if it's not exactly the same print, it's very, very similar. And I was like, well, holy shit, what just happened to me? And that's when I reached out to you. And because I was like, whoa, how do I stop this? And then you started telling me about soul
Yeah.
contracts. And
Okay.
and
Can I stop for a second? I remember this exact conversation
I'm
so
making space for it right
specifically.
now.
Thank you. So you were telling me about this, and yes, soul contracts, we chatted about that. And I said, your spiritual gifts are opening. Like your
Mhm.
spiritual gifts were opening. It's just you, and this is what I see a lot. There's an access point when our gifts start to open. And I went through this. So I know how it works, and I've mentored a lot of people through it. Our gifts start to open, but then we need discernment on what energies are we talking to. Are we talking to God, source, divine, or are we talking to infiltration? And so I think that's why you were called to DATDA.
Mhm.
Ended up doing DATDA. I think it was after you came to Unveiling Deception, Keys to Discernment, that free masterclass. But I did a different one months before that called Keys to Liberation. That one's also free. And I talked about the correlation between addiction and like entities, darker energies, and how they're access points, right? Which is why when you heal
Mhm.
the root cause, which is what we do in the breath work, Jai breath work, they don't have that access point anymore. So yeah, this is what I see a lot. It's like I was like, oh, your gifts are opening, soul contracts, you're getting all these signs and messages. And I didn't tell you, I don't think I was like, watch out for darker energies.
It didn't
But
come to you didn't come at it that way. No.
no, I definitely didn't. Because I'm like, that's not gonna go well if I say that. But we chatted, and then okay, sorry, you said soul contracts. I just wanted to like put a pin in that because if anybody's going
That's
through
all
this,
right.
very common. When our gifts open, sometimes people think they're talking to God's source and they're talking to other things. Um, okay, so soul contracts. That's where you left it.
So soul contracts, and I remember you clearing it for me in that first breath work we did. So this conversation all happened really fast with me and Jill. Just to give you an idea, it happened within 4 days, and I was signed up. And that's how it is, and that's how it kind of went down. And then a week later, we had a call, and I believe you cleared that soul contract for me, realigned a bunch of stuff,
Yeah,
called back the soul fragments that I'd lost, and everything
yeah,
like that. Now, I would suggest to you, and I've said this before in things, um, you may not believe in this stuff, but the people that produce your television, the movies, and everybody, they sure as hell believe in this. So be careful what you consume on television, on your phone, all of it, because what you consume is what you become, right?
yes,
And if you're feeding yourself poison, you will become the poison, and you will transmute that poison, and you will give it away for free. The
yeah,
poison is easy to give away, and when you start going down this path of God, you'll find that it's within us all. The question is can you connect to it on a higher dimension or a higher level? This takes
yes,
a while to get there, and I've always believed in these sort of things. I'm a nerd just like you. I like physics. I like quantum physics. I like mathematics. I like English. I like all of that stuff. So after you get to the 12th step of AA, and you've accepted that you've experienced trauma and you've put all those resentments that you've been carrying around, all the guilt, all the shame, and that's a huge part of continuing to drink, because the problem isn't the alcohol, that's your solution,
yeah,
right? The drugs aren't the problem, that's the solution you're using to compensate for what you're missing inside. And the
yes,
hardest part is to let something else in and start believing in something higher than yourself, because you're taught not to,
yeah,
right? On television and all these things we consume in our daily lives, they suppress that spirituality, and it's done on purpose through public school systems, through all of it, if you really want to dig deeper into
Yeah,
it, right?
the rabbit hole is
And
deep.
the rabbit hole is deep, and we don't want to go there today because we had problems with that before too. But um
We filmed
after I yeah,
a 3-hour
and we
podcast
joined,
that was gold and it didn't
yeah,
record the sound.
it's
I'm like,
probably better off with some of the things we said, but
probably. And we probably shouldn't have disclosed that much, to be honest. Cause yeah, but what you were saying, yes, we become what we watch. I mean, I used to be an actress. I worked on certain movie sets that had some really dark stuff and dark programming. So just be conscious of that. And I really want to go into this trauma part because trauma is where the access point is. So, like you said, it's like it's our relationship to the thing that is the issue. That's what an addiction is. It's when it causes short-term relief, but it causes long-term harm, and you can't stop. So it's not necessarily the drugs or the alcohol or the work or the sugar or whatever it is. It's your relationship to it, and it's like you're needing that to feel the peace in your nervous system. And wherever we have trauma, that's an access point, firstly, for darker energies to draw you to these things. And secondly, if we have trauma in our third chakra, which is our solar plexus, that literally like depletes our willpower, which is why people really, really struggle. One of the big pieces, because we don't have the willpower. And even if you have strong willpower alone will never be enough if you don't heal the root. And what often happens is people will stop the drinking, or they'll stop the drugs, or they'll stop the sex addiction, or they'll go celibate, they'll stop the porn, but then it manifests in another type of addiction because they haven't healed the root. They're still a slave to the thing. I had somebody message me the other day about somebody she knows who stopped drinking, but then he like gained all this weight because it just manifested in an addiction, a compulsive eating habit, and sugar. And I'm like, yes, because the root isn't healed, which is why it's so important to heal the root. And we're doing some of this work on the addiction healing seminar on the 28th. And then also I have the breath work as another option, which is inside of my membership, where that heals the root, and then it calls back soul fragments, and you're connecting to God's source, these very pure and powerful energies. So it's like the trio. I just wanted to elaborate on that. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to you.
no problem, no problem at all. That's a good explanation of it. And I mean, we talk about it a lot in many recovery programs, right? Surrendering is the first step. You have to let it in before it can start helping you. It will start speaking to you. The question is, are you listening?
Yeah.
Are you paying attention? Are you aware? And part of what alcohol does is it cuts down your awareness. And a lot of us drink like that because we have minds that want to expand and we can't control the noise, right? ADHD, OCD, whatever it may be. And I will tell you from experience, alcohol will give it all away, and quite quickly it'll take it all from you. You'll be sitting alone in a dark room drinking by yourself, trying to protect the supply, and that becomes a serious problem.
Sorry, I should
Right?
not.
No, it's okay. It is what it is.
I just imagined
and I
you
was there. Well,
just was
it's not so
nice
much. It
body,
was a bit different, but it was a bit different. But
more than
and that was enough, right? You get to a point where you've had enough. And the
yeah.
question is how do you help yourself? And the scariest part at 47 years old is how do you redefine your life? My life had become wine, and I was damn good at it. And it was the only thing I knew at one point. And then I realized, well, that's just an excuse, right? Jobs are easy to come by if you're really looking for one.
Yes.
Well, it used to be. They're a little bit more difficult now. It's not quite as easy as it used to be. But I mean, you know this, Jill, after about 2 weeks after I got into DATDA and started doing the breath work with you. I mean, I went down the breath work rabbit hole as well. After I took yours, I went looking for more. That really got me seeing things through the third eye, 100%. And it transmuted the pain, the alchemized the pain, the trauma, and everything. And we say this often when you go through a program, that you cannot transmit what you do not have. right?
Yeah.
And until you've let the light in, or until you let God in, or the divine, however you want to reconcile that within you, you have to let it in first before it can start working.
Yeah.
It's not it's not external, it's all internal. Your external forces working upon you when it comes to accepting God into your life, accepting faith of any kind, that comes from within. And changing your geography, well, I have a few times, but the alcohol followed me. The people that I associated with myself followed me wherever I went, until I changed who I was inside and started
Yeah.
really believing in the spirituality I once did. Right. And we can talk about Al-Kul, the god that is a spirit that takes over your body when you drink it another day. But there
Mhm.
is science behind, there is history behind, and philosophy behind why this was all created in the first place. Right. Um,
Well, I
After
mean,
that,
oh, sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just going to
No, I'm
say,
letting you go.
when people, there's two things I want to touch on. When people black out, there's literally something else running their body. Their consciousness is not in their body anymore. And the second thing I want to touch on is, well, actually three things. You, wherever the pain is, like Rumi says, where the wound is where the light enters. So this is why it's actually really powerful when we have a lot of pain, either physical pain, which is just a manifestation of emotional pain, or emotional pain. The breath work alchemizes it. But when we bring in God, source, the divine in the breath work, what happens is it enters where the wound is. So a lot of people are like, oh, I wish I didn't have this. And I'm like, no, it's actually really powerful because it allows you in a safe environment. And you know this, I use a ton of energy protection in those breath works. Like, I don't mess around with that. And people are like, I've never experienced anything like it. And it's because of that. And because I'm calling in God energy, and because we're calling your soul fragments back, getting your inner power on board, and you're literally shifting from the inside out. It's like a different heart posture, but it's not, a lot of people are just like wishing they didn't have that pain, which is causing the addiction because they're trying to cover up that pain, but the pain is actually the access point. And so that's why, I mean, it's in a way, it's a blessing, because as soon as we use that as the access point for God versus the access point for, addiction or darker energies, you gain so much sovereignty, so much power, so much light. And you literally, it's like when I was on this journey, I felt like I was coming back to my body and my soul for the first time. And I was like, what is this magic? This is how I got into this work. Like, it wasn't like, oh, let's study this. It was like me going through my own journey and being like, what is this? And the final piece here is like those thoughts that you were talking about, like that a lot of people try and numb with addiction. I have tools for that. And I'm curious your experience in this inside DATDA, like the tools with like clearing other people's thoughts out of your field, constructs out of your field. I mean, implants, we won't go into all like the woo stuff about it, but clearing these thoughts, because often they're not even yours. You've just taken them on. TV, music, programming, people around you. What was your experience like once you had those tools and you started applying them, in terms of like feeling like you needed to escape your thoughts or your body, which alcoholism is a form of escapism, versus where it is now that you have the tools, now that you're literally, it feels like you're a different person. You're not, obviously, you're just more of Adam.
I feel like a kid again. There's a lot of free will in it. And to explain it the best I can is that I started recognizing it. Before you can keep them out, you have to recognize what they are and how they manifest themselves inside your own head. What it is that you're consuming that's causing it, first of all, right?
Yeah.
That takes a minute. It takes a couple of weeks, and it did take a couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
we remember during the breath week, I had a huge swell of emotion.
I remember.
And
Yes.
and I also saw faces from my past leave. I've always been very visual. Maybe that's the psychedelics at a young age. I don't know, but maybe I was always like that. I had strange dreams when I was a kid, very visual. I've always been a lucid dreamer. I'm able to wake myself up anytime I want, stay in a dream anytime I want.
Yeah.
It can be a hindrance. That hasn't happened since you gave me the dream protection, by the way. I don't have those things anymore.
Yay! That's in data.
I can control it. I can control it a lot more. Um, so after that, it took weeks. And now you start recognizing they start coming at you hard, right? When you start fighting back against this dark energy,
Yeah.
and they'll say, the devil doesn't bother people that are doing his work already. He only goes after those that are trying to send light, right? And the alcohol, the addiction, all of that is manifested out of it, right? And I've learned since then that the universe, the system we live in, is neutral. It's how you interact with it, right? And if you're interacting negatively with it, negativity becomes your destiny, and you're creating that all on your own, and you're creating all of that on your own. I manifested being here. It took 4 days. Here I am, sitting in a temple.
You're like, oh yeah,
Right.
I'm flying to Bali. Right. I'm like, we just
bye. I'm fucking out of here.
But I love that because you followed your soul. Would you have done that before, like old Adam?
I had jumped on planes and disappeared across the country a couple times, back and forth, east and west, from Ottawa to Quebec to BC a couple of times, Whistler, Vancouver twice. It's easy to do once you've done it a couple of times. It gets a lot easier, but the trick is whittling away the things you don't need. It becomes a big question of wants and needs in your life and how much you really need to survive. And once you've gotten to the bare bones and hit that rock bottom, there's only one way out, and it's up and through. So you can crawl yourself out of it, but I mean, the first step is stop feeding yourself poison, right? And after that, you can start cleaning the insides. I mean, lots of things I used were food too, natural quality, high quality food, homemade tonics that I drank in the morning, because part of my addiction with alcohol came from the acidity. I really enjoy acidity and flavor profiles. This is all science as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And so I was making hot teas at home in a different way and drinking things that I learned on the internet with lemon and ginger. And this all helped me cut down on cravings. And you learn during going through the process that cravings only last 7 to 11 minutes. You can crush a craving pretty quick.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to give it a shot, right? So
can we talk about this for a second? Because I take enzymes every morning. They're like very potent liquid enzymes from Tibet, actually. And they're sung mantras for years. I have a discount code if anybody's interested in this company. But a lot. So I struggled for a while with a sugar addiction. And what I realized was a number of things. You talked about shame and guilt. It was the frequency of shame that I had to transmute, that was actually drawing me towards these things. And then I also, I don't know if you know what mucoid plaque is, but anyways, I did a couple of mucoid plaque detoxes with these enzymes, but like the full detox, and then liver ones. And literally it's like, once I dealt with those two things, the energetics, transmuting that, and then the physical environment in my body, it's like, sure, I still enjoy chocolate, but I don't have cravings. And a lot of the time I'm like, yeah, I don't really like, there'll be like dessert and I'm like, I don't really feel like it right now. But when we're drawn to certain things, there's some sort of energetic match. And I find with people with substances, well, it's mostly substances and food. It's less so like other types of addictions that aren't something like you're inhaling, like addictions to like work or whatever. But I find that the things that whether it's like drugs, alcohol, food, there is a lot of them are rooted. Well, they're all, any addiction, honestly, I feel like is rooted in shame, because it's like, I'm not good enough. Let me get rid of this. And shame is the densest frequency. And the breathwork energy work clears that. It transmutes it, I should say. And then the what we put in our body also creates a new environment. It's epigenetics. And then all of a sudden we stop craving that thing. And then it's like, okay, you can have some sugar or not have it, but you're not like, oh, I need that thing. You know what I mean? And I think this is something sometimes I hear people, they're like, oh, I stopped my addiction, but they're still craving it like decades later. And I'm like, well, you're still, what do they call it in alcoholism? A dry sober? Is that what it is?
Dry drunk. Yeah.
Or that.
Dry drunk.
And it's like, you don't need to live with that battle. It doesn't need to be a battle. And like, if I'm honest, like sometimes I whine. I'm doing 90 days, no alcohol right now, but it's not like I need the thing. Like people are like, is it hard that you're like doing, and I was like, no, like, it's not, I don't need it. I don't crave it. sure, I can have some Prosecco at like a holiday party if I desire, but it's the relationship with the thing that's the most important. And once you're free from that, you have sovereignty, you have choice. You can have the thing or not have the thing. And this is the piece that so many people don't understand. It doesn't need to be a battle for the rest of your life. This happens a lot with people who are addicted to porn as well, where they're like, you know, they've stopped it, but they're like jonesing like years later. And I'm like, this is not normal. You actually haven't healed the addiction. You've just stopped that
Exactly.
behavior. And now
You
it's
cured an obsession, not an addiction.
Yes. And it's still affecting your relationship. So
Absolutely.
this is why it's so important to deal with the root cause.
I mean, I'll tell you what the root cause was for me, and this is not about talking poorly about my parents or anything like that, but I was always way too smart for my own good. I knew that, and I was ostracized for it. I was in enriched physics class, and I just understood it, and everybody was like, "You don't even have to do the work, and you just get it." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know why that is, but it is." And I was the guy playing chess with my physics teacher at lunch, right? I was never the best athlete, but I could think a game, so I could play the game. Like Matt Damon says in Good Will Hunting, I don't know why, I can just play. And that becomes a problem because people are jealous of that shit. People do not like to see people just easily succeed in life, right? And that became my trauma. That became my trauma, and it was never good enough. In school, it was never good enough. And I've learned since then it was me saying, this is too slow for me. Get me out of here. I had no business in a regular classroom with regular people
Yeah.
at all. I needed to be moving out of there. And what we know today about the ADHD or what have you, and my ADHD is gone now, by the way, everybody. This energy work has cleared that right up. I don't take medication. I don't smoke weed. I feed myself good food. I do not eat processed garbage. I drink
Yeah.
water. I drink tea. I drank a lot of coffee. I'm not going to tell you a lie there. I was drinking a lot of coffee before I got here. It was, you got to feed yourself something, you say, and coffee's all right, but caffeine's got its own issues. So be
I
careful with
love
that if you
coffee
find
too.
yourself drinking. I love coffee too, but you can get better. You can get good coffee with lower quantity of caffeine if you go looking for it. So
Yes.
just
And
there.
also, like, it's good to stop it like for a little bit. I mean, a couple weeks ago I didn't have it for 7 days, and it's like that's where the body kind of resets. A lot of very gifted people actually struggle with addiction. I also had
Mhm.
ADHD. I had ADHD. I was prescribed the medicine. Like, I'm not on it. I haven't been on it for years, but that was like one of my I mean, I was definitely addicted to Adderall in high school, and I went cold turkey off of it. And
It's a tough thing to do.
pardon?
I said that's tough to give up on your own right there at
It
any
was
age.
so difficult. I had no support. I just had really strong willpower.
Mhm.
But then it changed into like other addictions, like work addictions and like sugar and all of these things until I was like, until I discovered somatic healing, to be honest, and like the energy work and what I do now. But it's very common for people, especially spiritually gifted, to um to
Numb
like
it.
to numb it because they don't know how to control their gifts, and we're not
Mhm.
taught. So what, you just have some alcohol or something else and all of a sudden you're like numb, because what alcohol does is it actually numbs our receptors and our intuition. And
It
sometimes,
kills your butt biome as
and
well.
that, yeah. And our gut is our second, I mean, our highest form of intuition is in our body, so long as our
Mhm.
trauma has been alchemized. Because when there's a lot of trauma, we think fear is addiction, and it's not. Sorry, fear is intuition, and it's not. Intuition's very subtle, and it's a deeper knowing. It's not emotion. Um, but yeah, it's very, very common because they're told they're crazy or whatnot. I mean, I remember being a kid and being told I was crazy, and I was, perceiving things in the quantum field, and then then I shut the gifts down and they open again when I was older, and I had no guidance at first. So thankfully I found mentors and guides, and I've studied with most of them, and that's how I got on this path. But yeah, that's very common. So like for anybody who's like at that place, like be kind to yourself, because um it it's it, there is a reason that you're doing it. It's trauma. It's your gifts are too much and you don't know how to control them and you need proper guidance. And you're sensitive, and that's a superpower if you know how to use it in that way. I'm curious what the main shifts were after you did the Jai breath work. So we've never actually had this conversation.
Well, first of all, I mean, after you did the clearing for me and I had that experience, I realized that you have to breathe deep to go deep, if that makes sense. That's something a guide taught me here in Bali when we were doing a Kundalini session about 4 days ago. You feel it coming in, and then and like 15 years ago, I was unable to sit with myself for 20 minutes quietly. I can sit for hours cross-legged now with nothing going on with my own thoughts, and hell, I don't even have thoughts sometimes. And and Buddha would tell you that enlightenment is found in that space. So when you dig deep into it, like the way it's changed, and go ahead.
I mean, I agree with Buddha, like what you just said. That's where you become a portal of creation. People don't understand this. They're like, how do you manifest so powerfully? I'm like, because I can sit in that. But when you knew me, we'll go back to that shortly. When you knew me years ago, I couldn't sit for 5 minutes. I felt like I was dying. Like I wanted to jump out of my body. I had so much trauma. And so our creation powers are when we can be in the stillness with God, with the earth. But until you alchemize deep layers of trauma, you won't be able to do that because you'll just want to jump out of your skin, or you'll be spinning in your mind, which is you out of your body. Our body is the bridge between God and the 3D reality. So if we can't be with ourselves, good luck creating and manifesting. When we can create anything, like literally anything. That's where we become the portal. And it's like superhuman, but any human can do this. It's just, you got to alchemize the trauma in the body, which again is what the breath work does and the energy work, etc. And from that place, the deeper listening, that's the intuitive guidance.
Deeper listening.
And like
exactly.
No matter what you have materially or not, it doesn't matter at that point, because you know you can create from nothing. And that's where you become a match to opportunity, abundance, holy provision, synchronicities, manifestations, intuitive guidance. Like that's the key. But most people are just like running around like a chicken with their head cut off, so disconnected from their soul, not in their body. There's so much trauma. And until they shift that, you can know all the quantum physics of creation, of manifestation. It doesn't matter what you know. It's the somatic body and having your soul in your body. And when there's a ton of trauma, your soul aspects are everywhere. And so you're not in your body, so you're not powerful. It's knowledge, it's not wisdom. So you can know all the things, but you can't create. Sorry. Just went on a whole riff.
And no, it's okay. And I'll just continue by saying your body knows all this stuff. You've just forgotten it. It's there within you. You just have to go access it. And I'll just continue with the ADHD thing. I was diagnosed with depression at 15 years old, right? I was given Prozac. My mom took me off that shit as quickly as possible because I wasn't the same human. And as you go through life, you realize that everything you need that's deficient in your brain comes from your gut via the vagus nerve. So feed yourself good things. And if you're going to take out all that extra addiction energy on something, take it out on cooking good food. You have a craving, do some squats, do some push-ups. You don't have to go to a gym to get in shape. Take a fucking walk. Put on some music. Find a book. There's so many ways to distract yourself from all of that. And if you need help finding God, by all means, reach out. I struggled with it for years. I promise you. I picked up a book called We That Wrestle with God by Jordan Peterson, and he starts explaining scripture, and it's very, very eye-opening, right? Not everybody's a fan of Jordan Peterson. He gets a bad rap.
I love him.
But he's a very smart man. I love him too. And I mean, once you start embracing some of that, and if you want to take it as fact, then you can take it as fact, that's fine. But it's more about morals and lessons. Like I got in very deeply into the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Apocrypha, and the forgotten books that were not accepted into the canons, like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, the book of Joshua, Deuteronomy, all of these things, they talk about things that are very prevalent to your life that you just haven't dug into yet. And it manifests, and all these stories come back. They're all loops, they're all patterns, they're all coming back around. And like, I'm 47 years old, so I've had a chance to see these loops come back around 3 or 4 times. And here we are again on the precipice of apocalypse, right? And now we're sitting here talking about addiction. And I ask myself, why me? And obviously there's a reason for it. So remember that every decision you make, every choice you make affects the next one. So
100%.
picking up, you can choose to pick up that first drink. Now, if you're like me, one's too many and 18's not enough. So
One too many, 18's not enough. Wow.
yeah, right.
Wow.
And then I find myself doing other shit that I probably shouldn't be doing. So
okay, these things I want to talk about. Okay, there's 3 things that are coming through. The first thing is destiny. In short, people think, oh, my destiny. I'm like, no. We have something called choice points. Every single choice that you make is either in alignment with your highest destiny or it's in alignment with a lower destiny. There's multiple destinies available all the time.
multiple timelines.
We don't just get fate, right? Yeah, sure, fate. But if we're not listening to our soul, if we're doing the thing that we know we're not meant to be doing, like I'll get God was like 90 days, 0 alcohol, do a gut cleanse, do a liver cleanse, done, right? I listen to that because I know that that's my guidance to my highest timeline. But if I was like, fuck that, I'm going to go out and party and whatever, like very different timeline. And so we can, or it's like, we'll talk about cheating for a second. If you're with a partner and you're like, oh, I'm going to make this one choice and like, it doesn't really matter, I'm going to cheat on them. Firstly, yes, it does. But now you're in a different timeline. You're in a different destiny completely. Like that one choice completely shifted your timeline. Or it's not even about the other person. It's literally about you and now what you're a match to. Or it's like, I'm going to hang out with these people that are not in alignment. And it's like, oh, we justify this stuff. But then, and God's like, hey, no, don't do that. And we don't listen. Okay, well, now we've literally like screwed ourselves over. We're not at our highest destiny anymore. And I mean, it's not good or bad. It's just like, what life do you want? Do you want an abundant life? Do you want a peaceful life? Do you want an expansive life? Do you want a life that you get to have the best of the best food? And, like what types of relationships do you want? Every single choice point either aligns with your highest destiny or it aligns with a lower destiny. And there's multiple. And so it doesn't really, like, of course, our choices affect other people, but more than anything, these micro choices are massive because they affect us and what we're aligning to. And the moment we say yes to something, we now consent to that energetic. So it's like, if you're saying yes to addiction, for example, you're now basically consenting to that being the baseline of your life. And we fall to our lowest minimum standard in our life, not only for other people, but the standard we hold for ourselves. And so
that tracks across so many things.
Everything. It's like, I'll give you an example. I have a client that I was I'm still working with. She's a private client and we were working on business stuff. Well, intuitively, she shared something that had to do with her relationship. And I'm like, your blocks in business are because you're dropping your standards so much in your relationship. It doesn't matter what we do in your business until we deal with this. Once we deal with this, your business will take off. But they're directly correlated.
I had that problem too.
Yeah, people don't think this. They're like, oh, they're not correlated. I'm like, yes, they absolutely are. And often the problem is not in the area of life that we think it is. And so we drop our standards in one area, we drop them in all. We are out of integrity in one area. Our energy field is now out of integrity. And so that was one thing. The second thing, there was 2 more things, but
boundaries is where I was going to go next after you were talking about that. I think that I had the same problem. I undervalued myself. And I'll tell you, a month after I got to this energy work, I quit my job. It didn't take very long. I was like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm fucking done.
That was amazing.
I walked out.
But can we talk about the energetics of this? Shame is one of the densest frequencies. The thought patterns with shame are something's bad with
I'm
me.
not good enough.
I'm bad. Not I did something bad. I am bad. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. And then we try and justify why we're worthy in our mind. It doesn't matter what we try and justify because our body is emitting the signal, I'm unworthy, right? So then we get employers that don't value us, a partner that doesn't
stop justifying, act.
Yes.
Right.
And so during the breath work, we transmuted a lot of shame because that's what the breath work does.
I literally saw shame leave my body.
Literally. And then all of a sudden,
literally,
by default, you started valuing yourself and your energetic signature was like, I value myself. That job was no longer in alignment. So you had the willpower to leave. You had, because your energy was that. I mean, I went through this in an abusive relationship. I didn't value myself at all. And as much as I told myself I did, it didn't matter. And then it was actually the same breath work that I used to start recoding my nervous system, transmuting shame, something's wrong with me, fundamentally, to nothing's wrong with me. Now I value myself. And then then I could leave. But my nervous system and my energy field weren't a match to me leaving before. And even if they were, I would still manifest a partner who didn't appreciate me, who abused me, and either mentally, physically, or
spiritually,
because that's what I was a match to. We have to understand that our energy is creating everything in our life. Our value, whether we get the promotion, whether we have a partner who honors us, how people treat us, like how much people are willing to invest in our services, like all of it is a match to our energy field, which is why when we get this work, we don't need anybody to change in our presence. We just change ourselves from the inside out. And all of a sudden our life starts to change. People start to treat us differently or they fall out. A job, an employer starts to treat us better or they fall out. Clients rise to our new level or they fall out. But then we get the people who are in alignment with that new version of ourselves. So, okay, boundaries.
It takes a minute, right? It takes a minute. It takes a minute.
And it takes you
start setting boundaries
and boundaries, the deepest level of boundaries are actually held in your energy field. So when
people will push them, when you start putting them up, people start rejecting them. And then you realize then you'll start understanding whether they really align with you or not. And if they keep trying to push those boundaries and don't respect them, it's time to move on.
And 100%. And these are tests.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Jill.
No, these are tests and initiations. And like energetic boundaries, I mean, DATDA has some tools for that with the thoughts you let in, the people, and all of these things. And putting that in your field, but both are important. Like the somatic work is also very important because I can say a boundary. Like I'll give you an example from when I was younger. I could not hold boundaries with men because I thought energetically I'd say no, but then they'd keep, they would like touch me or whatever. Or like I've had bosses who sexually abused me and I would say no, but they felt that my energy was like not saying no, not because I didn't want them to stop. I did, but there was a deeper fear of like, oh, if I say no, something bad's going to happen because of things when I was very young, sexual abuse when I was very young. And so it manifested until I shifted the core. That's where the boundary shifted. And then we can add even more layers of boundaries energetically. That's where people start to really respect us because they feel I'm not going to fuck with you in our energy field. Mm-hmm. But it happens before we speak them. Okay, sorry. I went on a whole rampage there.
No, that's all right. That all makes sense.
So boundaries. So what was your experience? Yeah. What was your experience like with boundaries before and what is it now?
Well, I had no boundaries. Whatever happened. I just, I was drinking a lot, but at the end of the day, like it takes a long time to build that self-confidence up when you're redefining your life. You still have to carry it and you have to walk tall and understand that these tests are important and that it's almost like a pilgrimage I went through. So it was like you can live with so little, man. It's so easy. You don't need all this material crap. My life is 2 bags now. I own nothing. I have 0 assets, right? And I've never been.
Where are your assets though?
I'm my asset, exactly. And this is my asset. This is my asset. And I've never felt so free. I got 2 bags, and hell, I could probably cut it down to less if I really needed to. And once you get into a minimalist sort of stoic state, you start realizing you start cutting through bullshit so quickly, and you just start rejecting things, right? So at one point, like, I'd cut out my expenses. I didn't have a rent, so I didn't need to work as much. Well, what's the problem? Like, I don't want to do it, so I'm not doing it.
You
Period.
manifested so many opportunities. You're like, I manifested this, and like this got paid for. And I was like, of course, like you just became a force. That's where
Unfortunately,
are
like,
your best
I'll
assets.
tell you something. I will tell you something right away. God works in mysterious ways, and it's always last fucking minute. So
Oh, I have goosebumps. Yes. I had this
it's
conversation
always
this
last minute.
morning.
It's always
I'm
last
like
minute.
with
And
somebody and I'm like, what I know to be true is our wealth, our abundance, our provision does not come through our job. It can come as a funnel through our job, but God is the main source. And it's after
mhm,
we make the choice, the provision comes. I've had so many miracles where I made a choice and I didn't have the I didn't have the investment. Like even when I went to Greece and Cyprus and the border was closed, it was COVID. Like I didn't have the money to go, and I made that choice. And that's where I mean, a lot of energy work. That was like one of the first places I went for energy work, and like it was the choice. And God always provides when it's on soul path, but we have to make the choice first. We have to choose ourselves. We have to say, yes, I'm going to walk this path. Yes, I'm going to go here. Because otherwise, why would God support us in something if we're just going to go waste that money on something that's not in devotion to our soul mission, our soul path?
mhm.
That's, well, why I channeled why it does come last minute. And it's building our faith and our trust in a greater power to co-create. If we have a
Mhm.
vision and God gives us the vision, God gave us the vision. Why would he not give us the resources? But you're absolutely right. It always comes last minute. Well, not
It
always.
always comes last minute. But
When,
I mean, when you're living it, you stop worrying about it. So
yes,
the anxiety, the fear, all that stuff, it's all a show out there. So if you start perceiving things differently, then it will approach you differently and it will come at you differently. And,
100%.
and a lot of this world is about perception and perspective, right?
Oh,
If you start seeing the world as a brighter place, it will start being a brighter place. And again, the system is neutral. It's how you interact with it,
yes.
right? And again, you have to learn to be able to sit down quietly with yourself, and that can take some time, and it can be very, very frustrating because the thoughts will infiltrate. But eventually, you learn how to zone in to a place where the quiet can happen and you can hear yourself
Yes.
think. And
Yes.
I was looking for that for years. How do I find that? And you find alcohol, you find LSD, you find mushrooms, you find plant-based, you find there's all sorts of things out there to distract you from what's really important. And that's just,
Yeah.
sitting down quietly and breathing, because we're
Yeah.
taught as a kid hyperventilation is scary and it's bad for you. But no, it's not. Hyperoxygenation is very, very good for you in small doses in
Yeah.
short periods of time, and
Yes.
that will expand your mind. It opens room for expansion within, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be light expansion, heart expansion, or however you want to reconcile that within you. And that's how the breath work really took me into a next step, because like the visual part that I started seeing of a brighter future, a better vision for myself. um, Letting that emotion swell up and let it go. Breathe in hope, breathe out fear, breathe in
Yeah.
love, exhale hate. All of these things that you just start putting into your mindset and perspective of life and how you're going to move out throughout your day, it starts getting better immediately. It doesn't take that much time. The hardest part is getting over yourself, right? Ego is
Yes.
a huge thing too in your life. But if you look at your ego as just answering questions on a witness stand, then all of a sudden it doesn't bother you so much and it doesn't infiltrate. I'm like, I got to protect this. I got to protect this, because 90% of addiction is protecting the supply,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it be friends, whether it be anything like that, you're protecting the supply all the time. And that's about insecurity and self esteem. And all of these things, when you start doing these breath work and energy and frequency healing,
Yeah.
it starts to present itself to you.
Yeah.
The question is, are you paying attention? Are you opening
Yes.
yourself up to it?
Are
You
you
have to
listening?
surrender. Are you
Yes.
listening to God? Are
Are
you
you
speaking with
trusting?
Him now? The signs come, and you won't understand them at the beginning. I'll tell you that. They come in weird ways, and
Mm-hmm.
butterflies. rabbits, wolves, people that just show up out of nowhere talking to you, and
literally, and they all connect. Like, you knew to message me at that time. When you first messaged about decoding manifestation years ago, you weren't ready. And then you knew. And then synchronistically, of course, I was doing unveiling deception keys to discernment. And I'm like, come to this, it's in a couple of days. And then you came, and then you took DATDA. By the way, if you have a lot of negative thoughts, we have tools for that in DATDA. And then you, like, it was just like boom, 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 boom. But you listen. And this is one of the things that people really struggle with, because it's not logical. The dots connect, but they connect looking back. So we have to have the faith and the trust within ourselves and source that we are being guided. I would not be on this path. I would not be on this path if I didn't trust when my whole mind was telling me this is crazy, you're bonkers, like blah, 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 blah. Like, my mind tells me crazy things still. I just clear the thoughts that are not mine. And then I'm like, okay, what is actually mine? What's my soul? And I can connect really quick. But at the beginning, I didn't have tools for this. So thank goodness I have them now. But my mind was telling me that I was bonkers. And I just started following my soul deeper and deeper. And now looking back, all the dots connect. And there's ones that I didn't even see how they connected, and they're continuing to connect. And the things that I'm creating in the world right now and in my business right now, I don't know how they fully connect. All I know is God's asking me to do, oh, that's so beautiful. God's asking me to do things like even addiction. When I first, well, I won't say first started my business, it was a few years in my business, but addiction was my main thing, helping people heal the root cause of addiction. Then it evolved. And then God was like, hey, go back, do this like lower ticket addiction healing seminar and do a healing at the end. And my mind resisted it. I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I like teaching manifestation. I like doing energy work, my membership, like prosperity, magnetism, retreats. And God was like, I told you to do this. And I was like, okay. And then you reached out. You're like, let's do a live on addiction. I had 2 other people reach out being like, do you want?
Uh-oh.
He had worked.
I lost you, Jill.
Oh,
there you go. You're back.
Okay. She had worked with so many people and was essentially still dealing with the root. I mean, the root wasn't healed. It was like, she came to a retreat. She came to an immersion, and then she she's been sober for over a year now. I think it's almost 2 years. And she wasn't ready to share the story. And now she's like, okay, I'm ready to share the story. And I'm like, amazing. And so like, I don't know how this is all going to connect. All I know is that I'm meant to actually do this in my work as well. Yes, I get to do the other things. And I get to teach people to follow their soul and teach manifestation, soul manifestation. And I get to do retreats, and I get to do my prosperity membership and all the things. But it was like, and then I was guided to, I'm not going to share that here, but my community knows I was guided to do something that I was absolutely resisting. I was like, okay, I'm listening. And then I was in an energy work portal the other day, and I was like, oh, this is why. And then another nugget came, and it all connects, but looking back. Okay, we have about 12 minutes left until I got to hop.
Perfect.
13 minutes actually, which is a sacred number. It's not a bad number. People think it's bad. That's by design. I want to, a couple things. So, firstly, what would you say for somebody, if somebody's like interested in coming to the addiction healing seminar and they're like having doubts? I don't know why you wouldn't just do it. It's $38. That's like a coffee in Vancouver. But anyways, what would you say to them to come to the seminar and the healing?
Make the choice to do it. I mean, you're going to be in a good container with good people and high energy humans. If you don't think that works for you, there are free options. I can get you a number. If that's where you're at in life, I would say to you that the hardest part is walking through the door.
Yes.
But once you walk through the door, and I mean, in Alcoholics Anonymous, I found the kindest, most welcoming, most heart-filled people I've ever come across in my fucking life. Right? And understanding is 90% of it, is another huge part of the battle, is having understanding around you. And then I will tell you that telling your story to strangers is extremely liberating.
Yes.
It is uncannily liberating, just being able to stand up and tell a bunch of strangers who understand what you've gone through. And once you put that out there, it comes back. And just being around people that understand it. I'm telling you, in these containers that Jill puts on, it works. It absolutely works, or I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
The breath work works, and these are all this stuff you can find. It's available to you. All these tools that everybody else is using, they're available to you. The first step is choose to start, because what you won't do today, you won't do tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
You got to start today. All right. And no one else is coming to save you.
Nobody is
Not going to
saving
happen.
you.
Nobody
Nobody
is
is
coming
saving
to save
you.
you. Not the universe, unless you ask it to, right? And the universe doesn't care about you until you start interacting with it in the way you choose to, right? And
And,
so walk through the
and
door.
even then, we still
Choose
have to
yourself.
choose to do the things, to sign up for the
Mhm.
course or whatever. Like, this is where I tell people, some people are wanting to be saved. I'm like, I can't help you. Like, I'm a powerful energy worker. Like, and I don't mean
Absolutely.
that to mean be conceited. People have been telling me this way before I got into this work. They're like, your energy is so and I didn't understand. And I've studied a lot and I've honed my skills a lot, and I continue to. Like, I take this work very seriously, but I can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. I cannot. Jesus Christ himself cannot help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. I will show up
No.
100% every single time, but you also have to show up 100% for yourself and choose that. So
The
thank you.
first step is all about you.
Pardon?
The first step is all about you.
All of
After
it.
that, you can
Yes.
find the help. The help will find you. So
Exactly.
it's out
And
there.
then eventually you'll help other people. That's the path. That's the path of, I mean, the most powerful souls, and you included, that I know, we've gone through the most trauma. We've faced the biggest battles and initiations in our psyche, in our challenges. And eventually the path is to help other people, but we have to choose ourselves first and do this healing first, and then we can help other people. There is no way that and this is my second question. I have three things before I bring this to close. There's no way me 10 years ago would be able to help people in any regard. So let's just take a path down memory lane, Adam.
Well, I could help them get drunk, that's for sure.
Pardon?
I was real good at that. I said I could help them get drunk, that's for
So you
sure.
could
I was
help
real
them
good
get
at
drunk
that.
for sure. What was I like? When did we meet? Was that 10 years ago? It must have been about 10 years ago.
We're pushing 10 years. We're pushing 10 years. It would have been
Yeah.
2016, 2008 years. I quit my job at the Four Seasons 2 years to the day I started to go to Tableau, and then you
Okay.
came about 6 months later.
Okay,
Right?
so
I remember you were sitting at the bar with Roge, and we started chatting, and you headed up to a party at the Loden, right?
the Loden?
And then all of a sudden not the Loden, the hotel that Tableau was attached to.
We went to a party there?
There was parties upstairs all the time. Yeah, that was a
I
while
don't think
ago.
I ever went.
You'd already had a few beverages.
I don't
I
think
don't know
I
if it
ever
was a
went to a
party or visiting somebody there.
in that building. I don't recall
I remember
that,
you getting on the elevator.
unless we met somebody there. Well, that hostess, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, what was I back in the day, like before I did any of this work? Because Adam and I met and worked together before it was not that long before I started getting in this work. It was probably about a year before.
Yeah, the restaurant was the final hurdle for you, I think.
It was the final hurdle. Yeah, what was I
That
like?
particular place in general. Well, I mean,
I was anxious.
A bit naive, I would say.
I was
Anxious,
very
a bit naive, shy as a person, but not outwardly in that sense.
Was I angry?
I knew you differently.
I feel like I was
It didn't come off as angry, but annoyed.
I think I was angry at myself.
A constant state of annoyance.
Yeah, I had a lot of resentment towards myself. And then
It's not the woman sitting before me today.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work, man.
It was a young girl, right?
And like
that makes sense.
Oh, I was such a young girl, even though I wasn't that young in age. Like, I wasn't old, obviously, but I'm 33 now. So like 23, or 24, or 25, I can't remember. but I was very naive. I had rose-colored glasses, I would say. I had no discernment. I had no self-confidence. Like that's where the shy comes in. There is no way I would be recording this as it's streaming live on Facebook. It's 333, of course. I mean, I wouldn't even
That's how that works.
Like honestly, guys, I was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the sense that anybody would look at me and be like, oh, she's a mess. It's not like I was like a huge party or anything. Like, yes, we would have wine after shift and whatever. I would go out sometimes, but inside my nervous system and my body, I was a complete and utter mess. I was also struggling with health issues, like because of anxiety. Like I felt like I couldn't be with myself. I couldn't be with I was like out of my body, if that makes any sense. I was really
No, I know exactly what you're saying. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I was really struggling with finances. Like my whole world was like, can I pay my bills? Like just so complete opposite of who I am today. I had no connection to God. I did not understand anybody who talked about spirituality. I used to make fun of people who were like, trust the universe or manifest it. I'm like, who is this person? Like, so it's actually the science that got me into the beliefs that I now hold and I know to be true. And my connection with God's source, divine, was through understanding first the science of it. And miracles.
The world we live in is not a sphere. Just remember that. It's a dimensional plane. It's not exactly, the world is not as it seems. And this work will open your mind to it. You start asking questions that you never thought you'd get to. Mm-hmm. And it's all very, very real. Like I said earlier, if you don't believe it, that's okay. But I promise you, the people that put on the production of all of this, they believe in it for real. They 100%. Absolutely believe. When you get into all the files and all those things, and they believe in it, and you'll see it start coming out. All the demonic rituals that you saw at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, the Super Bowl.
And the Super Bowl.
And people think I'm crazy when I say this. Don't follow the white rabbit into Jupiter's box. Down the hole into Metatron's cube. Like, what the fuck?
Oh God, Metatron. I just got somebody sent me a reel on that the other day and I was like, yeah, of course. Like the white rabbit, the Matrix, like it's everywhere. We did a whole podcast on this that unfortunately the sound didn't record, but probably
that was an Illuminati initiation is what it was.
Oh, I bet. I mean, you know this. I dated two people who were very high.
I served a lot of them wine, so.
Yeah. And this is before, one was after I was in this community and he was very connected. Our mentor was past mentor. I'm not connected with any of these people anymore, but they were very highly connected in the Illuminati. I didn't know this. And then I started unraveling. I podcast on this. It's called My Real Spiritual Awakening. But way before that, the one that you knew that you would serve wine to, who's a very, very wealthy person in Vancouver. I was so naive. I dated this person. Something was off. I ended up breaking up with him. He wouldn't take no for an answer, whatever. I moved to New York and then we became friends for a bit after. He started seeing somebody else who looked exactly like this roster of women who looked exactly like me. And then later I uncovered this other stuff. And then you shared with me that, yes, he's connected to, and it makes sense. Like, I was like, oh, and I started like kind of connecting dots. I'm no longer in touch with this person, but, it is very real and it is intentional. And I mean, also don't give your power away to it. Don't go into fear about it, because even in like DATDA, for example, I've had a number of people.
That's okay.
Like,
thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, my tea just arrived. Thank you so much.
We are very grateful.
I love my tea in the morning.
I love that you're calling. I love that woman. Her energy looks so beautiful. But when we actually learn about these and tools to protect against them, to not give power to it, like people have been messaging me about the Epstein files left, right, and center, because I started talking about this 6 years ago. I got disowned.
You throw up a lot of protection if you're digging in there.
Oh yeah. I got disowned from my family. A bunch of my friends who were actors, or most of them still are, thought I was bonkers. I mean, the acting world is all correlated with this, at least the big shows, not all of them, not like Hallmark and like these whatever, but I was on shows that literally had satanic rituals on them.
If you find it on Paramount or Netflix, you can almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, I body doubled on
Netflix. The opening scene is MK Ultra, right?
Yeah.
So, like all of that, and then you like all that static noise that they put on television. Those are low frequencies meant to disturb you, right? And there's music out there like that too, like the Dead Kennedys. It is one that uses crazy tunings because it's supposed to get at your core.
Yes,
right? And all of this stuff is very real
from the earth. It ungrounds us. So the point is, we can protect against all this. DATDA is your full toolkit, but people have been messaging me and they're like, wait, you were right. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. They're like, why are you not talking about it anymore? I'm like, because I talked about it 6 years ago. And like a year and a half ago, I did so many podcasts. I mean, I created DATDA for energy protection. I've done so much to illuminate this. I don't really want to like be talking about it every day, but it's like, here's tools. And so people, I'll leave you guys with this because they're like, well, what do I do? And they're freaking out. And they're like, how are you not freaking out? I'm like, because I already processed all of this. Don't give it energy. If you cannot stay grounded and look at the files and read them and stay out of giving your life force energy to it and going into fear, then don't look into them. If you don't have energy protection, then probably don't look into them. If you need energy protection,
you don't want to
join DATDA. Like it's the best energy protection toolkit I've ever seen out there. I've taken the best of the best from.
It's worth every penny.
Thank you. Around the world.
It's worth every penny.
It's so organized too. Not all my courses are like that organized. But it is so
you have to walk in with an open mind, but it's worth it.
Yes. And the more people learn about it, they're like, my fear is dissolving. I thought I'd be scared. I'm like, no, because now you know how to protect against it. And they don't want you to have tools to protect against it. They want you in fear of it. So you turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah, you watch your afflictions disappear.
Exactly. Once you learn about it, you're like, oh, cool. And so you're like, cool, got tools. And yes, it takes some time to master the tools because there's so many. They're not that complicated. And we're going to have another call, a bonus.
None of this work is complicated. It's just work, right?
It's
you just
work.
have to do it.
And mastering it. And then you get really quick at it. And then it takes 3 to 10 seconds to put up different grids, protection, whatever, right? And so there's that. If you're like, because all the truth is coming out. But don't feed your fear into this, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to create loosh. What loosh is chaotic energy. It is energy that is in fear so that they can siphon that and extract it and extract your life force. And this, I had to go through this so deeply with both of those two X's in order to connect so many dots and learn how to protect that. And I mean, you've seen those photos of when I literally look like a corpse because all
I know what you look like. I remember especially you in that airport, lost in that airport. I'll never forget that vision of you. It was like, what is going on? She found some bad people. Like, I think I reached out to you, like, are you okay?
Which
from the weed store.
Are you talking?
I forget which airport it was. It was you were on a flight. I think it was on Spirit Air that you had a really rough time there. But like your eyes were just
oh my god,
glazed right over.
I was not
not the light that's in there now. You were not okay. I didn't think so. I was like, I remember I reached out to her. Why are you firing guns, Jill? And then I realized you grew up with them. But
well, I like guns. I actually do really like guns.
I'm starting to like them too.
And whatnot. But yeah, I was like not okay. Like, let's just say I did not know, I didn't have the protection. I didn't have the discernment, but I had to go through that so that I can guide people through it because I'm not afraid of it now. People are like, aren't you afraid? I'm like, no, because I've been through the worst of the worst. I mean, there's things I haven't even talked about in my podcast when I like went fully into my story, but they're not necessary. Like I went through the worst of the worst so I could help other people through it. Like some of the stuff that happened in relationship, I'm like,
it's where I'm at now too.
Oh my God. But at the same time, my soul and God always had me. And so I would never wish anybody to go through it, which is why I teach on this now, discernment, protection, interference, all the things and how to protect against it. And at the same time, I wouldn't, sometimes people are like, when they find out pieces of my story, they're like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, I'm glad I went through that because it's made me into who I am today. And it's helped me help so many other people. That being said, I would not wish it upon anybody. So the final thing, because oh God, I do gotta hop here. But the final thing, if anybody is like, I want the full toolkit and I want DATDA, we also have a great community with that on WhatsApp. Adam's very active in it, and we love that because I run multiple communities. So he's very active, very knowledgeable. What would you say if they're like, hey, I'm doing energy work, but like I need protection, weird things are happening, or my gifts are opening and I don't know how to control them? What would you say to them? Like, what are the main things that it's helped you with? We'll leave it there.
Taking power back. Oh my God, I got a little frog hanging out with me now, waving at me. Great. Hey, buddy. You're more powerful than you know. Your power has been suppressed through a lot of different things. You are not powerless. You have all the power. You just have to take it back. All right.
Yes.
And the way out is, and I'm going to say it one more time, like Jordan Peterson was, the way out is through. Face it direct in its face. And like I've told Jill here in the past few months, the universe is having me clear out my past, like literally, not just spiritually, but physically sit with people that I no longer align with to make sure I understand what I'm walking away from.
Yes.
And I love these people. I have no judgment towards these people. These are great humans that were in my life. Some of them helped me out a great deal.
Yeah.
But spending time with them on a level is just not going to work anymore for me.
Yeah.
And here I am. So
yeah, you're consenting to
that.
they
make fun of you. They'll make fun of you for having this stuff within you. They'll try to take it back and put you in a place where you were before, because they are uncomfortable with themselves and their spot in the world.
And it's not just them, it's other things that are working through them. And I think this is really important because I watched you go through this journey, and I went through this journey too. In fact, we're both on this in some aspect. Like I got called back to Sedona. I went back to places where it was like, oh my God, that was me. You know, it's so crazy. I thought I had been out of my last relationship for like a lot longer than I have. Some things popped up recently, and I was like 2 years ago, I was in that relationship. And I was like, whoa. But like, it feels like a lifetime ago. And there's places that I'll get called to, and it's like, oh, that was Jill, like not that long ago. And the person who I am now is different. It's like, thank God I woke up on deeper levels, but like claimed my sovereignty. And it's interesting because you've got called back to certain places, certain people, and you're like, whoa, that was you not that long ago. And look at where you are now. And this just goes to show, like, when we really apply ourselves and really do this work, I mean, shifts can happen fast. And now is the only time to like you
and again,
said,
I'll say surrender is the key. Surrendering is the key. You got to surrender to it.
Surrender earlier. And I was like, there's no coincidence that I have
fast.
Multiple courses are like surrendering into abundance, surrendering into
let your love expand.
Source. Say again.
So let your love expand.
Yes.
And first and foremost, love yourself. It's okay to love yourself. And you will get nowhere if you don't.
Choose. Because you said, nobody's coming to save you. So whatever, if it's free offerings, like you can message me or message Adam. If it's free offerings, if it's the addiction seminar and healing, if it's DATDA, if it's the membership, there's so much in the back end of the membership, which is insane. Plus we meet live as well. There's tons of energy work, the breath work, like all the things. Any of these things, like just choose yourself and take the next step. Take the next step. I don't care if it's a free offering, a paid offering. I don't care if it's with me or somebody else. Take the step.
Reach out to me directly. I'll talk to you.
Yes. And the final thing, and then I really, really got to go, is
we could talk all day.
Ever. The final thing is, I just lost it.
It's gonna happen.
Shoot. Well, if anyone's watching this on Facebook, the link is in my bio for the addiction healing seminar. It's also my website, jillalanainternational.com. We'll get this on the podcast. I'll link that and my information, Adam's information. And there was one more thing that was really important. I'm not going to go into details, but I will just say, like, way back in the day when we met, it's interesting because a lot of your behaviors with the shame were it wasn't just drinking, it was like other things. And I think this is a big thing with people who are struggling with addiction or compulsive habits. It was other things that you would do the behaviors were in alignment with the I'm not good enough, I'm a bad person, blah, 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 blah. So when you're in the energetic of shame, and that's what you're emitting, these behaviors that feel like you cannot stop them are because that's your energetic blueprint match. Once you shift that, your behavior shift. It's not that, oh, I just cannot give up this compulsive habit. It's way deeper than that. And I think a lot of people kick themselves because they're like, why am I still doing this? And that is why, because that's what your energy is a match to. So you got to shift your energy. Okay.
Give yourself a hug every morning. Give yourself a hug every morning. Wake up with gratitude. The most important part of this whole thing of surrendering into faith or God or the divine is waking up with gratitude. And I'm telling you right now, if God didn't exist, I'd be dead already. Right? I would have killed myself snowboarding, hit by a car, driving drunk, whatever. Right? And I have friends that are deceased because of it that I've learned to connect with on other dimensional planes now, which is people think I'm nuts, but I'm not. I actually speak to these people now. I don't think you are, but no, I know you don't think I am. You taught me how to do it or help me channel it. But at the same time, like I said, you're more powerful than you think you are. Harness that energy. And instead of choose something healthy to do with that craving, whether it be, making a soup, distract yourself in a different manner, but be aware that you are making a choice to better yourself today.
Yes.
Not tomorrow. If you wait for tomorrow, it's not going to happen.
100%. Or channel it into something that's like a soul-aligned business, into supporting people, into creating abundance, wealth, like whatever you want, training your dog, like whatever it is. There's so many powerful things that are supportive to you and other people in society you can channel it into. It's just you're reversing it and wasting it because you don't have this proper support. Okay, I got to pop. Thank you so much, Adam, for jumping on here. I'm late for something else. We will get this on the podcast. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the 28th.
Appreciate you too, Jill. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Sacred Soul, I hope you loved that episode. And if you did, I would so appreciate if you could share and tag me on the social medias at Jill Alana Nixon. And if this brought you value, I would be eternally grateful if you could leave a 5-star review. And if you did, take a picture and email it to teamjillalananixon@gmail.com, and we will gift you a free cord cutting soul revival mini activation, a Jai activation. Put that in the show notes, the email, and thank you so much. We will see you again next week on the Prosperity Portal podcast.